Previously on AgentPalmer.com, fighting for space is a compelling duality about the historic battle for female spaceflight. My review of London Match, which closes my reading of Dayton's first Samson trilogy, is up, and how many of you have started reading Norfolk Gloss? It's good, isn't it? This is the Palmer Files, episode 33, with fellow agent Mike Laybourne, who has written about LEGO on AgentPalmer.com as Agent Hunt, and is therefore the best guest to have on to talk about our favorite plastic bricks. When we started, how we came back to them, why we enjoy them, collect them, and much, much more. Are you ready? Let's do the show. Hello and welcome to the Palmer Files. I'm your host, Jason Stershik, also known as Agent Palmer, and on this 33rd episode is Mike Laybourne, known as Agent Hunt on AgentPalmer.com, who is also a writer and editor for the FourthLinePodcast.com, and of course, a LEGO enthusiast and Star Wars fan. I invited Mike on this episode because I wanted to just geek out and talk about LEGO. I recently built the lunar lander, which goes nicely with my Saturn V that I built a few years back, and I still haven't cracked the seal on the International Space Station, but it's only a matter of time. And we'll get to more of my collection and his during the episode, but LEGO is for all ages, and that's exactly why I wanted to talk to Mike about them. So what are you in for? Well, it's two grown men from different sides of the Atlantic Ocean talking about their love for various fictional universes while discussing how much they enjoy interlocking bricks that build things from our favorite fandoms and our imaginations alike. Before we get into it, remember that if you want to discuss this episode as you listen or after, you can tweet me at Agent Palmer, the show at The Palmer Files, or Mike at Mike Laybourne. That's MikeLaybourne. You can see some of his LEGO build videos on his YouTube channel, which will be linked in the show notes. Plus, don't forget you can see all of his LEGO set reviews and some assorted book reviews and all of my writings and rantings on agentpalmer.com. Email can be sent to the show at thepalmerfiles@gmail.com. And that's all the official business. So without further ado, let's get to step one. Mike, I'm having you on to talk about Legos because you outdo me in that regard. But I want to ask, like, have you always has Legos been a thing throughout your life, or like was it because before I let you answer the question, like I was big into Legos when I was a kid, then I stopped. In fact, I believe I donated all of my Legos at one point to like a childcare center or something. And then I think when I bought the Saturn V was when I got back into it. And now I've done everything I can not to buy more. Has it always been there for you?
No. So I think I was a bit kind of like yourself. So as a kid, I had kind of lots of Lego, like just a huge tub, just of a sort of. It was never like Lego sets. It was just, here's a box of Lego, or we'd go to like a car boot sale and there'd be like a bag of Lego for $5, and it would get bought. And then as I got kind of into my teens, I discovered Technic. So I had like a couple of big Technic sets that I was really into because it's really mechanical. So I like the T-Rex and the helicopter and stuff like that. And I love those because it was just like seeing how stuff works. You had all the pistons and the pulleys and all sorts of things like that, and that kind of that was it. So for a good couple of years, pretty much until kind of like I left school, as I was playing with that Technic, and then it wasn't at my house either. It was at my granddad's house, I think. And then with like moving away, so I'm from one side of the country, I live on the other side of the country. So and then over the years, all that stuff got donated.
Okay.
Which, when I found out, I was heartbroken. It's like, I love that T-Rex. Because you could program it and everything. It's like, and when you look at kind of the programmable stuff now, that's amazing. And this big old clunky huge 3-button thing that you could use. But like back then, programming Lego just insane. But no, so I had a Lego Dark Ages,
Okay.
which is when you go on the websites and stuff is what it's called. Before you kind of either discover it or rediscover it. And then when I rediscovered it, it was really through my love of Star Wars. So almost all of my Lego is Star Wars. My wife's is Disney. Mine's all Star Wars.
So what was the one that did it for you? Like for me, obviously, like the Saturn V, I was like, I have to have that. But like, what was the first? Do you remember what the first set was to like bring you back?
First one that brought me back wasn't a Star Wars one actually. It was Space Shuttle. And there's been a couple of LEGO Space Shuttles over the years, so it wasn't a huge one. So it didn't have like the boosters or anything, but it was just like, it came with like one astronaut. You could open like the bay and had like a little crane and a satellite and stuff. And that was kind of what brought me back into it, because around that time was when Clone Wars was on TV.
Okay.
So the Lego Clone Wars sets were also out. And I kind of like Lego. I'd watched the Star Wars movies as a kid, and then kind of moved away from them. And then like when the prequel trilogy came out, I watched them, I loved them, but I didn't kind of get into it that much. It was only kind of when the cartoons and stuff started coming out that I kind of got really, really back into Star Wars and really back into the Lego that comes with it. So the set that made me really love playing with Lego again was the Space Shuttle.
Okay.
That was kind of the feeder drug into everything else.
Yeah, I have two space sets in my house. I bought a Marvel one, which was one of like the Iron Man sets, which was like, it's the one with Coulson's car. I don't remember.
Oh yeah.
And it's got like this big like Iron Man type villain. And then I bought the Jurassic Park, not the Jurassic World, but the actual Jurassic Park one, where it's like 4 sides and it's like Nedry's console, the command center, the DNA room, the Raptors, and it's got like Dr. Grant, Sattler, and then the 2 kids. And it was just like, that was these were wonderful like little one-offs. And then because I had the Saturn V, is like, well, I have to get the lunar lander when they finally came out with that years later. And I was like, all right, well, I have to get that. I still have yet, as we're recording, I have yet to build the International Space Station, which a buddy of mine bought for me. And now I spend all of my waking moments trying not to buy more, because I could easily buy more. You have a collection. Like, even if I did, like, you've written about, I don't know, about 7 or 8 posts for agentpalmer.com about sets you've built, and I know you had more before and you've had others since. So like you're deep in, man. Like, you're deep in, you're back, right? Is that?
Oh yeah, massively. And it's the hardest part of enjoying Lego and building stuff is the restraint. It's about going, okay, because you get again, I mean, my focus, I pick up the odd Marvel stuff. So like they got the Milano when that came out for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful, man. Such a nice, it's a beautiful ship.
But
how set as well.
How big is it though? Because my issue becomes space, right? Like I don't have the biggest house. And it's just like, okay, so that's almost the size of the lunar lander.
Yeah, so I mean, this is great for an audio medium, but I'm showing you the Lego Milano. I think it was the Lego Milano Spaceship Rescue was the name of the set. And yeah, space is a huge kind of challenge. So, funny enough, the biggest Lego set that we have in the house isn't mine. It's my wife's. It's the Disney Castle, like the 4,500 piece.
Wow.
Disney Castle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you build together, especially on something that No.
No, that was all her. I really wanted to. And she was like, "Yeah, you can if you want." But I was like, "No, I got it for you. This is yours. you can build it, because she doesn't care about Star Wars, really care about Marvel. But she's got like a couple of Lego sets. But like the biggest one is like, no, you can build it. I think it took her about 2 weeks, just doing like an hour, half an hour a night, and it's huge. I've got quite a lot of the brickheads, and some of the idea sets. So the what's the NASA one? The Women of NASA.
Yep, I have the Women of NASA. So, that's a part of my. I guess my living room has gone space themed, right? Because I mean, I've tweeted out pictures of the mantle, and I have a bookcase that's one of the taller bookcases, like the 6-foot bookcase, that I'm going to put the ISS on top of, as if it's in orbit a little bit higher up. But like, that's it, man. Like you have an entire bookcase behind you of Lego now. I know because you've tweeted it at me, like you've gone beyond like the official Lego stuff. You've gone into like there's custom stands and like, so is that something that you just kind of fall into while you're researching the rest, or is there like a community out there I don't know about?
So the custom stands, I can't remember how I spotted it. But I think it just came up on eBay. So that one came up, but then when I've started, so we interact quite a lot on Twitter, but that's pretty much the only thing I interact on. So kind of Facebook and stuff. But yeah, so talking about kind of stands and community and stuff. So yeah, the stands make a big difference, just because, especially when kind of showing stuff off, when you've got like say Millennium Falcon or something, that's quite a wide set. But then you get a stand, you can angle it, then you can get it on a smaller shelf. So and it kind of shows it off as well. Community-wise, I've kind of gone back onto Facebook, having been like an old miserable person and never gone on Facebook, and there are kind of some good Lego groups on there. You see like a lot of stuff getting shared, a lot of custom stuff. People going, right, okay, here's a model. Or like, they'll either something they've designed themselves or something that they modified. And yeah, I'm not kind of dead active in the community side of things, but it's more kind of I just lurk there and go, ooh, that's a good idea. Especially with the Razor, So, have you seen the Lego Razor Crest?
Yeah, so the first thing I knew about these quote unquote custom designs or these modified designs is I think I had tweeted something about the one Lego set I still kind of want, which is the 60s Mustang.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, you can make a modern Mustang with that set, with this like small kit. And I didn't even think about it, right? Because like if we go backwards, right? You had a tub, I had a massive box, right? Like I might have had one set that I built when I was a kid. Otherwise, we were using these blocks to build whatever we felt like, right? And since I got back in, I've done nothing but build sets. Like it was an adjustment, right? Like you wouldn't think it because it's it's Lego, but they have changed. Like when I built the Saturn V, it's like, oh, that's how we're going to get a curved like edge. All right, okay, rack and pinion things, like ball and joint, like, oh, okay, all right, this is new. We're gonna do some weird angles and stuff, and it's all got to kind of get tightened at the same time. And like this is new to me. Like obviously for the Star Wars ones, I'm sure that that's a part of it, but like I found a bit of like there was a bit of an adjustment when I came back to it. Did you find like something similar, or is it because you had Technic, like it was kind of in line with that?
No, I had the same kind of adjustment. So my Technic kind of period between that and kind of coming back into it, that was a long time of just kind of nothing. And then when I started getting back into it, I was at the stage where it's like, okay, that's like a pretty good looking set. I'm going to get that. And I'll just build it perfectly and then not touch it. And where kind of my girls are at the moment, so of course they've got tubs of Lego, is like they'll get a set, like, so Payne's got the like the Elsa's castle from Frozen, this big kind of ornate castle. And first you just take it apart and then just like she's like, oh, I built a tower, and it's just a perfectly rectangular tower made of just square bricks, and it's like, well, okay, cool, you know, because we all went through that phase. It's just okay. I'm just going to go with what I know. But then kind of when you start getting into kind of slightly more complex stuff, it's like I wonder how they get that angle. It's like with the Milano, the front of the wings are angled differently to the rest of it. And then kind of you take a look inside and there's little clips and bars that kind of you tilt stuff on. It's like, oh, it's pretty clever. I've never built the Saturn V, but I've watched videos of people building it. And it's like, there's so much that goes into the way they get kind of just that round shape. You know, which I'm sure you can vouch for.
Well,
it's just like,
I
that's insane.
I'll be honest. I really thought it was going to be like, here's a rounded piece. Like I'll be honest. I really thought that's what it was going to be like. You build a square thing and you put rounded pieces around it, and it's not that at all, really, until you get to like the very tip, and then you're dealing with like rounded pieces we've dealt with for years. I'm amazed at how far Lego has come, because like again, we go back and it's like there was City and Pirates and maybe some of the original space sets, which were like nothing to write home about, really. Like it was
but at the time they were amazing.
Well, sure.
So I saw something. I remember some of those are like little ones, and there's kind of like a little lunar buggy, and they're all kind of black and yellow and red. And you look at it now and go, wow, it's so basic. But at the time, it was amazing because it was your imagination that you played with, and that's fantastic. So, yeah, I can see the difference. Like I know what you mean. But compared to where it is now,
I will say the as a brand, what Lego has done with licensing in terms of, all right, we're gonna grab Disney, and we're like Lego has like whoever's in charge of their licensing does an amazing job, because like I now, and I should never have signed up for it, but I now get the magazine, which is horrible, because like I'll go through that. Well, you know, maybe one day, because for me, like I say I want the Mustang, and that's probably the most realistic one to get.
Yeah.
But the one that looks the best to me is the diner from like the City Block collection.
Yeah.
And but there's a part of me that goes, but if you buy one block, you need to get the next block, and the bookstore looks cool. You know, Steph was like, we can get the bookstore to go next to the diner. And But now, where am I going to put that? Like it's one thing with all of these ships, right? And spaceships and rockets. But those cities are massive.
Oh, yeah, they are. And I think there's one set. I think it's like a private detective office, and it's got like little barbers next to it, I think, and it's like a little pool hall. And it's all kind of like the modular. You can just clip them all together, and you just look at them, and they look so good. But I absolutely know that if I do that, it was like I can stick a spaceship on a shelf. That's fine, you know. I tend to rotate stuff as well, so I'll take it apart, stick it in a bag, put it away, so I can then get the pleasure of building it again. But if I went for a city,
well, hold on. How much do you take it apart? Like all the way?
Or yeah, completely.
So there are things on your shelf that you've rebuilt.
Yes.
I can't, like I'm racking my brain. Like I can't imagine taking the Saturn V apart, despite the fact that when I built it the first time, I did screw up and did have to take part of it apart.
Oh yeah. I've been there. I think for me it's kind of part of the joy. So we moved house almost exactly 2 years ago, and I'm trying to remember what. I'm looking at one of the Millennium Falcons right now. I'm trying to remember which house room I got that. But for all the Lego, I took it all apart, all of it, completely stripped it down. You know, kept it all separate.
Sure.
So then I could go, okay, I'm just going to spend a few nights, get all the instructions out. So I've got I don't tend to keep boxes, but I've got folders full of instructions, and then just rebuild it, and then it's just kind of part of the fun for me.
What is there something like extra exciting about what's the appeal of the second build? Like, obviously you've already done it once, you know what it looks like, you know what the end result is. Is that like, do you challenge you? Like, do you try and see like how much can I do without the instructions, or like is there a process to that second build at all?
Yeah, I don't do it without instructions because there's no way I could do that. I wish I had that sort of memory. I wish I could look at a picture and go, yeah, that's how that works, but I just can't. But if you think, I don't know how the Saturn V works, but most kind of Lego sets will come in numbered bags.
Yeah.
So if you look, I'm just thinking the UCS A-Wing, which is one of the ones I put on the website, I think that was like 14 bags. So when you're building one bag at a time, that's fine. When you've got, say, like 1,000 pieces that aren't numbered, you just got to, okay, well, do them by type or do them by color. I did it recently with the Millennium Falcon from The Force Awakens, because I was looking at it going, I really want to build the Ebon Hawk from Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay.
Have you ever played that?
Yeah.
And so, although there's been some Knights of the Old Republic Lego sets, there was never an Ebon Hawk. I thought, do you know what? It's because it was a Corellian freighter, the same as the Millennium Falcon. And I've got a Millennium Falcon workshop manual, so I can sit there and kind of work out the sizes and stuff. And I thought, I'm just going to take it completely apart and try and build it. I failed miserably. Okay, I just could not get it to work. I got like it halfway there with the shape, but it just was not happening. But then it's like, great, now all I have is just this box full of pieces of Millennium Falcon. And that set is over 1,000 pieces. I can't remember exactly what the piece count is, but it's over 1,000. So it's like, oh, now I have to put it back together. So I got the instructions. No numbered bags, though, so there's a lot of grey plates, a lot of black plates, okay? Just put them all in piles by part, work your way through. And it's something, as much as you've got the thought of building stuff and going, okay, I wonder where this goes or where this goes, at the same time, it's almost like switching your mind off. It's almost like a form of meditation. So it's just going, okay, let's just do this, follow this process. And because you almost maybe don't have to think about it, you find it really relaxing.
Yeah, no, the age was the one thing that I found crept up on me when I was playing with Legos, because I was like, I can't sit at a table. Like, I was sitting at a table. I'm not going to sit on a floor like I used to when I was a kid, but like, I'm like hunched over and I'm like, oh, you know what? My back's killing me. But like, it's like 3 hours later and I want to keep going, because you get into that meditative state of like, just turn the page, find the block, put it together. It's actually the Lunar Lander was fine. Like, that was kind of like a 2-hour build and it was done. The Saturn V was frustrating because I got into a rhythm and then I messed up somewhere and I had to undo stuff. And there's not, like, when you get into a rhythm and then you screw it up, it's like, no, none of this is something's not right here, right? It's just and I worry about, I think I'm going in the right direction as far as like the build process, because like the Saturn V is solid. Yeah. The Lunar Lander, a little less solid. It's got a few more. So when I finally sit down to build the International Space Station, which is not really solid at all, I'm going to have an idea, but you get scared. Like I had my coffee like on a completely different thing because I didn't want to actually set it down on something and like break off a wing or like a leg. Yeah. So it's like paranoia a bit, but I don't know if I'll ever play with them. Like, I've actually played, like, full disclosure, I've played with the Jurassic Park set. And the Marvel set.
I'd be disappointed if you hadn't, to be fair, man.
But
it's still a toy.
The space sets I look at differently. Yeah. You know, like I don't know. I understand it's still a toy. But you know, and I think especially after the first, like, you know, my parents came over to see the Saturn V, and I was like, oh, I'll take it apart for you. You know, here are the sections.
Yeah.
But I haven't done that for anybody. Like, I'm sure somebody's asked recently. I'm not doing that. No. Like,
are you going to just do it for the sake of doing it?
I think I might have to. Like,
yeah, man.
I think it's a piece where I don't know if it's age or what. Like, I forget they're toys. Like I treat,
Mm.
or maybe it's the level of detail compared to, the blocks we used to play with,
Yeah.
right? But like, I look at them like models. And when I used to build plastic model kits, like okay, that's on my shelf. I did that. That's done. In fact, half the model kits I remember making didn't have wheels that moved, right? It was like,
Yeah.
you put the wheels on and that's that. They're fixed.
Yeah.
And I think maybe like if I get other sets, I have to take the time to like, no, it's more than just the build.
Yeah. I think it's what you can do. So I think certain things are display pieces, and I can get it with the Saturn V. I think, but because it's got all the different sections, it's got a little service module and stuff. It's like, for me, I'd be like, okay, I've got displayed as the rocket, or no, I might display it in sections. Just change it around. But I went through the kind of plastic model making set. So I did with Airfix planes. Went through. I had like a big Gundam thing where I was making all the sets and stuff like that. And I was like, they're cool. And then it's kind of you finish it, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna do that now. It's just gonna sit there gathering dust. And it's kind of like this. At least, okay, what can I do with Lego? I can rebuild that into something else. Or if I want to, I mean, you can build stuff digitally now. So in April, I was in hospital for 2 weeks. So my daughter was in hospital for 2 weeks, and she had to have like a little surgery, and then because of the medication, she had to stay in for 2 weeks. Okay, just so they could give the medication. Like, she's absolutely fine. And she's pretty much fine the following day, but 2 weeks in a hospital. Can't chop and change like which parent's going to stay because of everything that was going on. So I was like, all right, okay, well, she's going to get me a laptop. What I'm going to do, I'm going to build the Saturn V4, which is like an 1800 piece Lego set, digitally. So all the instructions are on Lego's website. And I've actually got the set since then, and it is beautiful. But I thought, because there's you got Lego Digital Designer, which I don't like. There's a program called Studio, where you can just kind of like go and get all the bricks. You just click them together using your mouse. You can choose the colors and stuff. And a lot of people will just build stuff like that before building it in real life, just to see what it's like.
Now,
if you use that to generate like a parts list or whatever.
How does it, like, obviously it's a different sensation because you're not actually touching the pieces, but is it just as fulfilling digitally as it is otherwise?
Not as, because it's not the same as physically kind of clicking the pieces together. But there are sets that I'm never going to own.
Okay.
So like the current Ultimate Collector Series Millennium Falcon. It's a $750 set, £650.
Yep.
And it's massive. So it's like, not only can I not afford it because it's loads of money, also, where the heck am I going to put it? Like, people get it and like they'll build coffee tables around it, because it's huge. And there's like, there's just no way I could justify that ever. But I can build it digitally.
Okay.
So I can see kind of how stuff goes together. And sometimes, because people will sell the instructions as well. So there's some little sets that I've bought where I'm just going to get one off the shelf. It's a tiny little desktop, kind of Jakku from Rogue One with a Star Destroyer above it. So not a huge set.
No.
But I just a nice little desktop kind of thing. Someone designed the instructions and sold the instructions.
So where do you get the pieces, though?
There's kind of three main places. You can buy them from Lego.
Okay.
So if you want brand new pieces that are going to be clean, you can get them from Lego itself. And
can you buy by piece? Like, obviously,
yes.
The instructions tell you, like, you need 15 of these, 4 of these, so you can go through and just be that specific.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do. You can either go in with a list of pieces, or you can kind of do it by set. So I'm waiting on an order at the moment. So I got the Razor Crest, and it is beautiful. But the engines kind of don't look like anything like the real one. So I was looking, going, how can I change that? So I need to order some pieces. So I've just ordered some curved pieces that will give a much nicer shape to the engine. I'll post it on Twitter when it's finished, but it's going to be a while. So you can order directly from Lego. It does take a while. eBay, people just will sell bricks. And there's a website called Bricklink, which is pretty much kind of like the biggest. It's like a global marketplace for bricks. Lego now owns it, so they kind of get a cut of anything that you buy. But if you're ordering in bulk, then Bricklink's probably the best one. But I tend to use either Lego or eBay because I don't tend to buy huge lots.
So there is a secondary market, which seems, I mean, it makes sense because like I've built 2 substantial sets, and I have 2 baggies worth of like, here's some extra pieces, and I don't know what to do. Like I'm also like a completionist where I'm like, like when I did the Saturn V and the lunar lander are hard enough because you can't be like, oh, all right, I'm gonna, okay, I get these extra pieces, I'm gonna use them. But like with the Marvel set and the Jurassic Park set, I was like, no, I'm gonna use these pieces. Like I can find a way to fit them in. But like I don't like having leftover pieces. Like it feels like that joke of like, oh, you're gonna take that engine apart, huh? How many extra pieces are you gonna have when you put it back together, right? Like,
oh man, yeah. And I've built Lego sets where there haven't been any extra pieces, and you finish building it, and there's still pieces left. Like, right, now I have to go back through the instructions to find out what I've missed out. I did it with the Razor Crest, in fact. But yeah, that I think when you've kind of not got much, then yeah, it's like, what do you do with those extra pieces? When you've got lots, or sometimes if there's like a really cheap set going on eBay, like a couple of quid for like a Star Wars set or whatever, I'll buy it just to break it down.
Okay.
Just go, right, here are the parts. And now I have 3 kind of big multi-section trays full of parts, or kind of like divided up by type. So like when you kind of sit down and go, right, okay, I'm going to modify something, or I'm going to build something from scratch, you can kind of go out, just get the trays out and go, okay, well, let's just start playing around with stuff.
I mean, obviously Star Wars is big, but like when you were a kid, like did you ever have one of like the big pirate sets or like any of those, or was it always just blocks? Because I'm trying to think back. I had a friend who had. I had multiple friends actually, but I had one friend who had like the pirate ship, right? And that was probably when I was 7 or 8, whenever that was. Like that was probably the biggest set I had ever seen as like, this is a Lego set.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So most of the sets that I got, kind of when I was like a bit older and able to build sets, tended to be like the little city ones, like cars mostly, little trucks. I think I don't remember having any of the pirate ships, but I think I had one of the pirate sets. It was like a little fort on a little island.
Yep.
So it was never like a massive set or anything, but I think that was probably one of the biggest ones that I had. And I had like a little dinghy that came with it and stuff, and the cannons you could pull back and fire the little was it 1x1 round cylinders. So yeah, I think that was the biggest one that I had. But then I kind of moved quickly from sets then into Technic.
Okay. All right.
And then the Dark Ages happened.
Do you if I were to say like no more Star Wars, like is there another Lego I'll say franchise that you would be like, no, I could easily. I mean, obviously you're a big Star Wars fan. I'm not trying to take that away. I'm saying like, nope, Star Wars is like they stopped doing Star Wars, but they kept every other franchise. Is there another franchise you could continue your Lego with?
It's kind of all the different themes and stuff. Good question. It's a very good question. Actually, I'm going to park it because I'm going to come back to it while I think about it. I'm just going to touch on something that you said before. About how Lego does such a good job kind of with the licenses.
Yeah.
There's a story about how the Star Wars license saved Lego. Because in the mid-90s, Lego was going bust. Nobody was buying it. They didn't really have kind of any big licenses or anything. It was only when Episode 1 Phantom Menace came out, and they got the license for that, and they started putting out a couple of ships. I think you had like a Naboo fighter, Darth Maul's scimitar, and like you look at them and they just look like blocky sets because that's kind of what they were. But that theme and that license then saved the company. And they've gone on to like the Ghostbusters license, the Harry Potter license, Super Mario at the moment. The Nintendo. Have you seen the SNES and the TV?
Yeah, the Nintendo. I mean, the attention to detail on that particular set, like I'm not surprised it sold out as quickly as it did. Yeah. I feel like there are certain sets, like as we're recording this, Ecto 1, another Ecto 1 dropped, right? And it's just like, that thing is absolutely beautiful, and that's going to sell out too.
I've not seen it yet. So I've seen like the old one, which was Ghost. I think the old one was an idea set. I saw the teaser for the new one, but I've not seen the pictures of it yet. But I think it's supposed to be like 2,000 parts or something.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah, so it sounds good. So I think with the themes, because with Star Wars, I don't get every Star Wars set. Okay? It's not about being a completionist in that sense. It's about getting stuff that's meaningful.
Sure.
For me, being a big Star Wars geek, so it's like I don't have much in the way of TIE fighters because the standard TIE fighters, they were never cool. They just explode straight away. And then kind of the same with X-wings. I was never a big fan of the X-wings, weirdly. So there's kind of lots of stuff like that I don't have. But like the walkers, like the ATSTs and ATDPs, and so I've got a couple of those because I think those are cool. Or a couple of the ships. There's like, if it's something that I think looks good, or something that I can relate to, I'll go for it, assuming I can afford it. If it's something that I don't care about, then I won't get it. Or if it's something I kind of halfway care about, I might kind of wait till it goes cheap and pick it up on eBay. A lot of people will get the sets, take the figures out, and sell the figures off separately. So you can buy the ships like half price. So if you're a ship builder, then that's pretty handy if you're not bothered about the figures that come with it.
Is there a real market for just the minifigs?
Yes. Yeah, massive. And not just the Star Wars ones, because you've got the collectible minifig series that LEGO brings out every year. But some of the rare figures go for loads. Like the Darth Revan, I think it is, which LEGO did as a polybag once. Never in it. I think it was a version of Darth Revan. It'll go for like $50, $60. Some of them will go for even more. I was looking at, is it Rio Durant from Solo? The little dude with 4 arms. I think he was voiced by Jon Favreau. Because I never wanted the set that he came with, but I thought he was a pretty cool little figure. I was like looking for him on eBay. Cheapest I could find is £25. So it's like, what, $30? It's like, no. It's just I'm sure someone somewhere is willing to pay that, and that's cool. Not for me. Can't justify that.
Well, no, because you could probably get...
The market's massive.
You could probably get one of those half-price ships for that cost. And
man.
No, it's...
Yeah. It's just...
It's
whatever people collect. So.
I mean, but based on what you have at least written for me, you have quite the minifig collection as it is.
I have a decent collection of minifigs. They all tend to be ones that have kind of come with sets. I've never gone out specifically to go get, right, I want this minifig of this person or this character. For me, it's kind of almost like a byproduct.
Okay.
Because I see myself as a kind of shipbuilder. Then, okay, well, I'm going to buy a set because I like the ship. It's going to come with minifigs. So that's fine. I'll either display them with the ship or they just go in a box. So I've got a tray full of minifigures.
Is there a massive ship? Maybe it's the Millennium Falcon, maybe it's not. But like, is there a massive ship that like, if I could like add a room to your house, like you'd be like, all right, I've got the space. I'm gonna get that one. And in my head, I'm thinking, especially Star Wars wise, there's 2 that come to mind. One is the massive Falcon, but like, there's also, isn't there like what I feels like a million piece. It's like a 6-foot Star Destroyer or something. Like, didn't they build something massive like that?
So, the biggest official LEGO Star Wars set was the Millennium Falcon.
Okay.
Came out, I think, 2018. And yes, if I had the space and the money, I'd 100% buy it. There's also a Star Destroyer, which is the same price, but it's about 4,000 pieces, whereas I think there's about 7,000 pieces in the Falcon. But with the Star Destroyer, a lot of the pieces are bigger pieces, so it feels like you're getting less for your money, but you look at it and it's absolutely massive. I saw it in a Lego store once. It's just huge. So yeah, I'd probably pick those up because they look amazing. But it's like in this room, which is kind of my man cave and also my office for working from home, there's only so much you can have around. It's kind of I can reach out and touch both walls. So
yeah, I mean, so you could probably hang one from the ceiling and always be hunched over.
Yeah, although this is an old house and the ceiling will probably come down if I hung Lego from it. Every time I see a new crack, I say, "Oh yeah, I always forget this house is 8 years old." So best fix that. But yeah, if I had the room and the money, definitely the Falcon. To come back to your question about which theme I'd go for if it wasn't Star Wars, be the creator. So probably the creator expert sort of stuff, like your Mustangs.
Okay.
What are the other ones? So you got your Mustang, you got the James Bond DB5.
The DB5. They did the Bugatti, Veyron, I think maybe.
That was Technic.
Oh, okay.
And it was, yeah, I saw that in Lego store as well. It's just massive. They've done a Lamborghini as well now, in the same scale.
There was a Mini, right?
Yes, yeah, there's a Mini Cooper. You've got like a VW camper van. In like the Lego expert stuff.
Look, all I'm saying is that
500.
That'll
be the theme.
All of those fit together except the wagon, right? Like it's just like all of these could be like.
You wouldn't have the wagon? Why not? What's wrong with the wagon?
It's not. All of the other ones are fast.
Cool,
I'm just saying, like.
I mean, a Fiat 500 ain't fast.
All right, fair.
Yeah, that's the new one, but it's a good looking little set, I mean, the cream of the crop out of the creator stuff has to be that Mustang.
Yeah, that's.
And I've come close to like go add to basket, a couple of times, and then go, it's still 120 quid. So,
yeah,
it's.
I have less a problem with the price and more a problem with the space. Like I know where I would put it, and I keep trying to keep that. I have a bookcase. Like a 4-foot bookcase, and if I kept the top of it clean, that's exactly where it would go. My problem is not that I can't buy it, it's that I'm looking at it right now and there's stuff on there. So like I need to keep it clean for long enough to know that I could put the Mustang there without putting stuff on top of it, right? Like that's so it does become more of a space issue than a financial issue, and it's like close. Like I feel like I'm close.
Yeah, and it is a beautiful set.
But since here's the thing, since you sent me that link, as much as I love the beauty of the classic one, the new one is not like also has its perks as far as being like beautiful. So it wasn't that much more expensive for like the additional pieces and the instructions to build the new one. Which added like a wrinkle to the whole thing because I was like, well, it's just this one, but now.
Yeah, man. There's a set which it's a Technic set. I think it's a Chevrolet Corvette CR7, I think. And it's not a big set. I think it's about like 500 pieces, but it's been rebuilt so many different times. There's a website called Rebrickable, and you can put in your collection. So you can go, right, these are all the sets that I've got, and then it'll tell you what you can build using those pieces. And it's awesome, but it's also kind of worrying because you go, okay, because it tells you how many pieces of Lego you've got in your house.
Have you done it?
I've done most of it.
And how many pieces do you have in your house?
It's a few. In fact, I'm just going to find out. I'm just going to load it up now. So, not everything I've put on there yet.
Okay.
So like there's just like I'm building a TIE Reaper at the moment. And I ordered like just a bunch of kind of 1x12.
And does this include the castle?
And they don't go on there. Yes, this does include the castle.
Okay, all right. Because I was going to say like that's all like obviously there are other members of your family with collections.
Yeah. So it doesn't include kind of any of the girl stuff. It doesn't include any of my wife's stuff apart from the castle.
Okay.
I Okay, that's more than I thought. So looking at this, and again, this is kind of lower than it actually would be because of just the odd kind of pieces that I get. But this is showing 44,755 total parts.
Okay. So over 50 easily.
I'd say. I mean, we might be pushing it to get 50, but I'd say definitely over. We'll say 45,000.
Okay.
45,000 bricks. Yeah. I'm good with that. I mean, like 4,000 of those are just in the Disney castle, so.
And if you put all of that into that site, I'm sure there's like a million things you can build, right? Like that's
absolutely loads. And that's kind of what's so good about it is people go, right, okay, what can I make? Either just from scratch or they'll take a set and go, okay, what can I rebuild it into?
So here's a question for you. When you had just the tub of bricks, what did you build like when you were a kid? Because I remember I literally always built two things and only two things. I built ships and I built stadiums. Like
stadiums.
Yeah. Whether it was like baseball or football, it doesn't matter. Like I would be like, all right, I'm gonna build a stadium, and they would be like, I don't know, those 1 foot by 1 foot plates. It would be like 2 or 4 of them, depending on what I was building, right? But I like build these massive stadiums, or I would build a ship. Like those were the things I always built. Like what was it for you when you had like if I take you back, right? Here's a tub.
Yeah.
Have at it, man. What are you building?
There's a big tub of bricks. Off you go. Spaceships, definitely.
Okay.
Sound like Benny from the Lego movie. Spaceships. Definitely spaceships. Because again, Lego Space, I think kind of the first or second time the space themes came out, they kind of came out at the right time for me as a kid. So I was like, yeah, spaceships. Bear in mind, at the same time, I'm watching like Thunderbirds on TV and Captain Scarlet and all that stuff. So I was like, I'm just going to build those. So kind of anything kind of space-based, I was all over that. What else did I build? I had I had a fire station.
Okay.
Built a fire station. I forgot about that one because that was like one that came with a base plate. And I had like a little kind of roller shutter door that I think I built into like 10,000 different things. So I didn't build much kind of city-wise. So I didn't kind of build like I'd build either vehicles, like cars or whatever, or spaceships, but pretty much mostly spaceships.
Okay.
I think as a kid that was me, head in the clouds.
Well, and still, I mean, now it's galaxies far, far away, but I mean, it's still there.
Well played.
I mean, because you've been at this a little bit longer since your reintroduction. Like, how has it been with like, seeing it on the big screen now? Because that was probably never a thing. I look. If I go back to Little You or Little Me, like seeing a Lego movie is like nowhere near, like it's not even a possibility, right?
No.
And now there's again, it happens, and obviously the video games have kind of added to it as well. Like at some point, I bought I don't know which one. I bought one of the Jurassic Lego games. Because it was 2-player, and I was like, "Oh, well, this will be fun." Like we both like Jurassic Park, we'll be able to. So I think we'll get into that at some point. But like, has it been enjoyable? Like it took me a while to get to the Lego Movie because I was like, I don't get it. Like it, and like I know the writing's good, and I admit like it's a fun franchise, but like the trailer dropped, and I was like, nah. Like it took me, like people had to push me to it, like
really, yeah. Do you know, man? I completely forgot about the video games. Because actually, I was probably playing the Lego video games before I got back into Lego. So that's a very good point. That like pretty much just the Star Wars, like the Lego Star Wars video games. I played kind of like the original trilogy video games, and then I kind of started then getting back into Lego as a toy. So they were really good. With the movies, So it's not just the movies. You got the movies, you got cartoons and stuff. And I'm not Lego Star Wars. There's a theme with this. I love those cartoons because they are just hilarious because they're so light-hearted that they just kind of take the piss out themselves, you know. And the Emperor in Lego and the way they've done it in the cartoons is so funny. And I'm saying this like as a 36-year-old guy going and just laughing at the Emperor getting like it's just stupid jokes. Like Vader will give him a best Emperor mug for Emperor Day, and it's just like it's when you say it out loud, it sounds daft, but when you watch it, it's just funny, simple stuff. And I think with the Lego Movie, the first one, I think they did that really, really well. The way they jammed all the different all your superheroes and stuff are in there, and all your cameos like Superman, Green Lantern, and all that sort of stuff. And I think there was a lot of very, very funny jokes because it was really well written.
Yeah.
The second one, I thought was probably a bit too clever for its own good with the way that they kind of told the story. I mean, I think there's lots of very funny Chris Pratt jokes in it, with them playing like kind of two of the main characters. You know, it was like the space hero, Velociraptor training Rex Vest or whatever his name was, as well as Emmett. But Lego Batman was, I think, probably the perfect Lego movie, just because you got Will Arnett as Batman, and all the other cast. It's just, I watched that in the theater, and I thought that was brilliant. It just worked really, really well. Ninjago movie was all right. I'd never really watched the cartoon, but there's a movie. It was fine. It had funny moments. Jackie Chan was in it, so you know, you can't go wrong. But yeah, I think had I seen that as a kid, it would have blown my mind.
I mean, I missed a lot of it, and I feel like I owe it to myself to go back because it would hit me, right? Like I know it would. I'm not like, oh no, I'm too old for like no, you're not. I'm happy to play with Legos. Like it's fine, you know. I got in what could have been easily predictable like Minecraft addiction, right? Because it's like it's not that different. It really isn't, and it's just like I like building stuff. Like I play Minecraft and all I do is build stuff. That's it. Like I've never beaten the game. To me, that's not what it's about, right? Like and I feel like for Lego, it's there are people that build to play and there are people that build to build, and it's just I mean you could. If you wanted to, like, you get all psychological and be like, well, that says a lot about who you are. But no, I don't care. Like, I just want to build. It's fine. Like, I don't need it to mean any more than it does. But I wanted to put you on the spot for a moment. Like, you do have all these sets. Is there one that's like, this is this is my favorite set? And I'm not saying like of all time, just of what you already own. Like this is my most prized one.
So, getting rid of all my sets, I can only keep one, really. What would it be? What would it be? I don't know, man. It's kind of like, what's your favorite song? It changes every week. It depends on kind of what I'm doing with it. Like the Kessel Run Millennium Falcon, I've kind of fallen in love with that again because I've started remodeling it to make it kind of more screen accurate. Whereas previously I hadn't touched it for like a year. But it's probably going to be the Slave one.
Okay.
It's the one that I wrote for the website. Because I never had any of the old ones. I never had the Ultimate Collector series, which is gorgeous, but it's so expensive on the second-hand market. And they brought this one out. It was affordable. It's not massive, but it's a good size, but it's not going to take up all your shelf space. And it looks. It's probably as good a Lego set as, I mean, in Star Wars anyway. they've made recently. You know, I don't look at it and go, well, I wish that was different, or I'm going to change that, like I've done with the Razor Crest. I just go, okay, I'm just going to stick it on a stand, display it with the rest of the bounty hunters. They'll be fine.
Honestly, when are you going to put in your application for like QA at like Lego? Like, oh no, all I have to do is just build these sets and tell them what's wrong. Like, when's that happening?
Could you imagine? Do you know what? I mean, you can dream, but at the same time, it's a hobby, and I don't want a hobby to become a job.
All right, that's fair.
If that makes sense.
No, absolutely. I mean, look,
because I don't want to fall out of love with it.
I know
because it's the day job.
I absolutely know that feeling. I know. I think I've said this on the show before. Like, I go back to, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago when Chris Hardwick officially sold and got out of Nerdist. He did, I think it was either his last Nerdist or his first ID10T podcast. And he talked about the process for leaving Nerdist, which he had created. And obviously it was a huge success and he turned it into a much bigger thing than himself. But he sounded almost heartbroken that it wasn't his anymore. Like, yes, he was a big success. He had more money than, obviously it saved his career. But there was a part of him that when I don't know what episode it was, but I'm listening to that episode thinking like, I'm never going to lose control of Agent Palmer, because like he's almost heartbroken that this thing he created to be like almost a reflection of himself and his fandoms is now something else and he's not a part of it anymore. So I understand where you go like, no, this is a hobby. I don't want it to be a day job, because like I immediately go back to that and I go like, I know where I was when like I remember sitting like in my office listening to that going like, I don't ever want to feel like that. Like, granted, it's success that led him to that, obviously. But I feel like there's a part of him that's like, if I could change it, if I could go back and just keep it as mine, I would. And I feel like that's an aspect of it where some hobbies are meant to be hobbies. And especially, look, people are working from home. There are millions of people jumping on like Twitch that are like, I like playing video games. Pay me to play video games. And it's like, it's just because you can doesn't mean you should is one part of it, but some things are meant for you, right? Like all right, Mike, set up your webcam and just build Lego live on Twitch with the chat room. Like, I mean, you could, there's literally nothing stopping you except that that's not why you're doing it. And I feel like a lot of people somehow lose sight of that. Right? It's just like, this one stays with me. Yeah, I get it. And so I started putting stuff on YouTube, just doing like little speed builds and stuff. And I still do it kind of with the magazines because they're pretty easy. But actually, when I was building the Saturn V4, and that was a special set because it was a gift, after kind of a pretty tricky time, challenging time, it's like, okay, cool, this is mine. And I was doing all of like shooting the videos as I was filming it all and stuff like that. And I realized that I wasn't having fun. It's, I was like, I'm building this, it's the biggest set I've ever built. But it's just kind of like, who am I building this for? Sure. Little magazine reviews and stuff, that's fine. Doing stuff kind of for the website, that's different because it's sitting down and writing. It's reflecting on all the fun stuff. Which is cool, so I enjoy that side of things. But going, okay, I'm going to get a set, I'm going to take it apart and video the whole thing. It's much more process because you've got to think, right, I've got to set all the parts out so that I can make it nice and smooth for the video and stuff like that. And it's just, it stops becoming fun. And I mean, it might be different if I could make a ton of money doing it, but it's such a thing where for it to be kind of like a passion project, you still got to have the passion for it. And if I'm looking at a set going, great, I can't wait to build the set, but actually I have to structure everything in such a way that is video friendly so I can then edit it. Well, that's a huge amount more work.
It's like, it's like, I don't really want to do that.
I know exactly what you're talking. When I did the Saturn V, and I was like, well, I know I'm going to write about this. It was like, I had to I set up a 15-minute timer to remind myself, like, take a picture of the process. Like, don't just be like, I built this, right?
Yeah.
When I did the lunar lander, I think I did it slightly smarter, which was I just set up my camera on a tripod, and every time I finished a section, I just got up and snapped a photo. Like, it wasn't running all the time. It wasn't video. It was ever. And it's easy to be like, I finished bag 1, take a picture. Put out bag 2, take a picture. I finished bag 2, take a picture. Like, it was easier, and I think that's probably the process I'll do. But I had to suffer, quote unquote, through like getting into a rhythm with the Saturn V and then having the alarm go off. Oh shit, I got to remember to take a picture, to like, oh no, I'm just going to take pictures at normal breaks.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's slightly different. Like, it's, who are you doing this for? You're absolutely right. And I mean, look, there's a part where video games are supposed to be for you too, as well. Like, it's not for others. And I know that there are ways to do it for other people, but like, at its very core, it should be enjoyable. And that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, it's an escapism. I think something that kind of LEGO have really kind of got on board with it is the escapism side of things. Because with the dots sets, where you've got like kind of the arty ones, where you kind of they're all kind of 2D. You've got the Sith Lords and some Andy Warhol ones, the Beatles ones, and stuff like that. With those, there's like a link for like meditation music that LEGO put together. So they know that actually this is what's supposed to be done. It's going through that process for yourself. So I mean, so when you build a set and you tear open the bag, you pour all the bits out. Do you sort them into shape, size, or different colors, or do you just kind of just jump straight in and start building?
No, I just rip open a bag and get going.
Yeah, I'm the same, man. But when my wife, she'll put them all in like, she'll do it all by color. So all purple pieces in one pile and stuff like that. She divides it all out first of all. It's like, nah, not for me.
Nope.
See that? And it's only until then I think I can't find a piece. I always go through the same. It's there, I just can't find it. Oh man, maybe it's actually missing. And oh my god, it's actually missing. And then, oh no, there it is.
No, that's I've been there. That's
I've only, scale of panic.
I've only done like 4 sets in the last little bit, and I've been there, I think, in every set. Like,
yeah. I've never had a missing piece ever, but there's always a piece which I think is missing because I can't see it. And actually, it's just under another piece or whatever, or it's just upside down. But yeah, so maybe there is a good argument for sorting all the pieces out first, but yeah, I was like, getting it all out, let's start building, make a mess.
There's a quote from author C.S. Lewis. When I became a man, I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up. I love this quote because you just heard a full conversation with 2 grown men talking about playing with the same exact bricks. Well, maybe not the actual same, but conceptually the same bricks we had played with growing up. And we discussed this on a podcast that is going out to the public, which means that both Mike and I only have the second part of the quote in our lives, which is probably the way it should be. Neither of us feared childishness, and neither of us has a desire to be grown up. We are who we are. Now, I know where Lewis gets the quote from. Many of you may. But I also know that it was said in a different age. We no longer have to put away childish things in order to grow up, or to prove that we are grown up. Responsibility and childish things are not mutually exclusive. I can equally pay my bills and be a functioning adult member of society while also spending my spare time building Legos, playing video games, or Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, adults should engage in play for the same reason that children are encouraged to do so. To quote from healthychildren.org, research shows play can improve children's abilities to plan, organize, get along with others, and regulate emotions. In addition, play helps with language, math, and social skills, and even helps children cope with stress. Doesn't that sound like something that not only children but everyone could find benefits from? Personally, I will continue to play in some form or another because I can use all the help I can get in regards to improving my abilities to plan, organize, and above all, cope with stress. So, let me ask you this. When was the last time you played with something? Whether it was Lego, video game, or anything else, it's important that you do something, so what was it? And if you can't answer that question, I think you know what needs to be done. Thanks for listening to the Palmer Files, episode 33. As a reminder, all links are available in the show notes, and now for the official business. The Palmer Files releases every 2 weeks on Tuesdays. If you're still listening, I encourage you to join the discussion. You can tweet me at Agent Palmer, the show at The Palmer Files, or Mike at Mike Laybourne. That's MikeLaybourne. You can see some of his Lego build videos on his YouTube channel, which will be linked in the show notes. Plus, don't forget you can see his Lego set reviews and some assorted book reviews, plus all of my writings and rantings on agentpalmer.com. Email can be sent to the show at thepalmerfiles@gmail.com if you have any feedback on this or any previous episode, or if there's a topic or guest you'd like me to consider. All right, Mike, you get one final question for me.
Okay, so this is something that I've always wanted. So, read the site, all the spy literature, all of that stuff. There's definitely a theme that you go for with that kind of the gritty side of things, the historical side of things. What are your thoughts, A, on the James Bond franchise, and B, the Mission Impossible franchise?
So, the second part is easy because I missed out on the Mission Impossible franchise. Episode 9, my buddy Jason Zapata has been a huge Mission Impossible fan, and he's also a big Jason Bourne fan. And within the last year, he sat me down and made me watch all of the Jason Bourne series because I had just missed it completely. And so I feel like Mission Impossible is the next series he's going to make me do. Like I'm not against any of them, right? It's just I missed them. Or like I wasn't in a place where I was watching movies at the time, so I missed the franchise, and now all of a sudden it's like I'm watching movies again, but it's the third one. So it's like, well, I missed the first two. I'm not one of those. I think anybody who's been around the site or even knows me, like I usually don't jump in the middle. So if I miss the beginning, I'm not in the race anymore. So with that, for Bond's hard because like there's. I think each actor has brought something different to the table. I think each actor has also been of its time, even more so than the movies, right? Like I feel like Connery in the 60s works, and when we get with what we get with Roger Moore is also of the time, right? And then you fast forward to Brosnan in the 90s, and that movie and him, like it works in that time. And Craig, same thing, like it works for its time. I wonder how long it can continue because when you look at the evolution of the character, it's changed, right? Like, obviously we're getting with Daniel Craig, we're getting a little bit farther away from gadgets, but I feel like when you ask most people, they fell in love with the gadgets. Like, it was part of the thing. So we're getting a little bit further away, and we're getting to, a Jason Bourne, Mission Impossible type Bond, which it's okay. Like, there's a part of me that wants to go back and read the books, despite the fact that I know they're absolutely the most misogynistic, sexist pieces of literature you will ever pick up.
I was going to ask, have you read any of the books?
No. I'm aware of how much has changed from book to movie, but I'm also aware of just some of that stuff you just can't put on the screen. But look, Bond was my first spy, right? Like, I leaned into the Harry Palmer stuff. And obviously I'm reading through all the Len Daytons, but like, it was Bond first. And I think it was my love of Bond, which is the reason that I felt so much affection for Harry Palmer when I finally got to watch the series. Cause like, oh, this is a guy who does his own shopping, wears glasses, and cooks for himself. Like, this is not James Bond. And I'm 100% on board with it. But if you weren't into Bond, it's hard to get into him, I think.
Okay.
And so, like, I have, like, I like all the movies. Like, if there's a Bond on, I will watch it. Like, it's one of those, I don't feel compelled to finish it necessarily because I've seen them all a million times.
Yeah.
I hope the franchise continues for the sake of, like, we all want to know what happens with the character, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't think, I think we would be okay with 5, 6, 7 years off. Like, I don't think that the time between, like, Moore and Dalton and then Brosnan, which was, a long time, I don't think that killed the franchise. I think it made people appreciate it when it came back. And I feel like, all the speculation about who replaces Craig and this, that, we can go years without it. Like, it's been done before. It can be done again. Like, Star Wars did fine. Just fine between the original trilogy and the prequels. And I know people argue about the prequels, but like, it was Star Wars on the big screen and that mattered. But there was a lot of time in between. We can wait. So when there's a good story to tell, I'm all on board. But there's a part of me that feels like we're doing it to do it. Like, oh, okay. It's been 2 years. Time for another Bond. Like, but nah.
Almost like the Fast and Furious franchise,
which
it's almost become kind of clockwork that we get a new one.
And I like the idea that with Jurassic World, Dominion is supposed to finish the franchise. I like that. I'm okay with that, right? Like, things come to an end, and I think that's the hard part, right? Like, I'm sure there will come a day when there will be no more James Bond. Like, it happens. We move on, but I think nobody's willing to be that person. Oh, I killed the franchise. Like, I'm the one who said we can't have another one. Like, nobody wants to be that person. I don't know. I'm ready for a new hero. How about that? Like, I'm ready for Harry Palmer to come back. Like, let's have that guy, right? Like, why not? Let's have one of those not rich boys.
Yeah.
Save the world.
I get it, man. I get it. Yeah. It's an interesting one. I think they've kind of almost done so much with it. It's kind of, where do you go next? And it feels like they're already kind of dragging things out a little bit. At the same time, as long as it keeps making money.
Well, I mean, look, he already went to space, right? Like, it's one of those.
Oh, yeah.
What, are you going to go back to space now? Come on. Like,
you could join your space force.
Maybe.
Imagine. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm at the point where I'm kind of done with Bond. But I think my favourite Bonds were Timothy Dalton, because it was kind of that darker kind of grittier Bond that you then kind of got with Daniel Craig. And Brosnan at the start. So, I mean, I love GoldenEye.
I look, GoldenEye was the first one I saw in theaters. Like, it's so hard to not think like, oh, that, like, and then you go back and you go like with revisionist history and be like, well, what if Brosnan is in place of Dalton? Like, what happens to the franchise? Maybe it continues on slightly in a different way. Like,
maybe. What if we never had Die Another Day with Madonna? You know? Oh man, I mean, we could spend the whole podcast talking about those and the Star Wars films, but I think that's one for another day.
Probably, yeah.